Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the listing ceremony of Sterling and Wilson Solar Limited. Sterling and Wilson Solar Limited was the world's largest solar EPC solutions provider based on annual installations of utility-scale PV systems of more than 5 megawatt peak, with a market share of 4.6 in 2018, which increased from 0.3% in 2014, according to Global Information. The company also provides operations and maintenance services, including for projects constructed by third parties. Sterling and Wilson Solar Limited commenced operations in 2011 as the solar EPC division of SWPL and demerged from SWPL with effect from April 1st, 2017. And over a span of 7 years, it became the largest solar EPC solutions provider in each of India, Africa, and the Middle East, according to the market research. And it currently has a presence across 26 countries with operations in India, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and North Africa, rest of Africa, Europe, United States, and Latin America, and Australia. As of March 31st, 2019, the company had 205 commissioned and contracted solar power projects. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome our dignitaries on the dais. Please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Khurshid Yazdi Darwala, the chairman of Sterling and Wilson Solar Limited. Mr. Bikesh Ogren, Non-Executive Director and Global CEO, Sterling and Wilson Solar Limited. Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan of BSE. Mr. Salil Pitle, Joint Managing Director and Co-CEO of Axis Capital Limited. Mr. Pratik Inver, Group Head Investment Banking, SBI Capital Markets Limited. Mr. Ajay Sraf, Executive Director, ICICI Securities Limited. Mr. H. Nemkumar, Head Institutional Equities, IIFL Holdings Limited. Mr. Sumit Jalan, Head of Investment Banking, Credit Suisse Securities, India Private Limited. And Mr. Amrish Baliga, Managing Director of Deutsche Equities, India Private Limited. Before we have the lighting of the lamp, we will watch a short AV.
Our planet needs to become green again. I believe we can help.
Our natural resources are polluted. But I believe there is hope.
The earth needs to be made cooler.
The air cleaner.
The water pure.
Bring back our forests and seas.
Help deserts
and dead reefs bloom.
Make cities green.
Regenerate our ice caps.
Save Mother Earth.
What the world needs is an energy revolution. And Sterling & Wilson Solar, a Shapoorji Pallonji Group company, helps produce clean energy, making a greener and more beautiful world possible for everyone. Sterling & Wilson Solar, the world's largest solar EPC solutions provider.
Yes, it's Leo. You're a nice round of applause. I think that was a recap of what I just said in a visual. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have the traditional lighting of the lamp, and I request all our dignitaries to kindly do the honors. A quick group photograph. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the opening address, I invite Mr. Salil Pitale, Joint Managing Director and Co-CEO of Axis Capital Limited. Please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Salil Pitale.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big honor and privilege to be here in front of all of you on the occasion of the listing of Sterling & Wilson Solar. On behalf of Axis Capital and the entire BRLM syndicate, I would really like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Shapoorji Pallonji Group, Mr. Khurshed Darwala, Mr. Bikesh Ogra, the entire team, including Bahadur, Tarun, Vikas, and everyone else at Sterling Solar for a very successful offering in the Indian capital markets. We at Axis Capital are extremely privileged and honored to have been part of this opportunity. Of the first IPO of the Sterling and of the Shapoorji Pallonji Group over the last 150 years. Interestingly, this is one of the largest non-BFSI private sector IPOs in India, and it's the largest equity offering in India over the last 18 months. Sterling & Wilson Solar is one of the very few Indian businesses which have really made their mark globally. They have become within a very short span of 7 years, they've become the global leader in the business that they operate in. It's a fantastic business model. Very few times do you come across business models, especially in the EPC space, which are negative working capital businesses. It's an IPO which, though it's close to a 3,000 crore IPO, it was an entire secondary offering. Company didn't need the cash, and the company is so robust, generating fantastic profitability without needing capital to grow the business. I think despite challenges in the markets and a lot of concerns around the entire political landscape as well as global economic environment, I think the deal was able to generate good interest and participation from marquee investors, both foreign as well as domestic. It ensured successful completion of a 2,800 crore IPO. Market conditions were not good, and therefore the subscription levels may not have been great. However, it's an extremely significant achievement for this IPO of this size to get completed in a tough market environment. And all of this thanks to a fabulous and untiring effort of the entire team, led by Karshid, Bikesh, absolutely untiring. There's Bahadur, Tarun, and Vikas. They've done a fantastic job. Having said that, I think the success of this offering would not have been possible without a full-scale team effort of the entire IPO team, which has worked tirelessly to get this deal done, and a fantastic job done across board. We at Axis Capital, as well as the entire BRLM team, look forward to working with the Shapoorji Pallonji Group and the Sterling Wilson Solar in the future. I'd again like to thank and congratulate the Sterling Wilson team. The journey is just begun now. Listing is a great journey. Enjoy it. It has its ups and downs. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have the chairman of Sterling and Wilson Solar Limited, Mr. Karshid Daruwala, who's going to speak to all of us. Please put your hands together for Mr. Daruwala.
Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very historic milestone in the Sterling and Wilson and Shapoorji Pallonji Group. It's the first time in 150 years that a Shapoorji Pallonji Group company is going public. My family has been in the business for the last 90 years. We've been partners with Shapoorji Pallonji since that time. It's a 3-generation partnership. I think it's a coincidence. We shouldn't forget our humble beginnings. Actually, touching the stock market on the back side is our first office, 200 square feet office, Sterling Wilson's office. Actually, it's not office, it's a loft where my grandfather, mummy, and daddy started business. Bang opposite that was Shapoorji Pallonji's office, which is literally about 1,000 or 2,000 square feet. That was the beginning of the families actually working together. In fact, I'm taking my kids today to see that office because it's some place where we started from. Two people who've been there since that time, my mother and Bhatena from Shapoorji Pallonji. They've been there since the last 50 years working within the Sterling Wilson and Shapoorji Group. So a big hand to both of them. We started the solar business in 2011. And I think it would be, all of us can say we planned this and that, but actually I think Bikesh and me couldn't have dreamed of where we would have reached today. At that point of time when we started the business, within the first 3 years when we became the largest EPC in India, we thought that was a fantastic achievement. But then in 2017, when we became the second largest company in the world, we believed that we could grow this business globally. And that's when the expansion started worldwide. And by 2018, last year, we've been the largest solar EPC worldwide. Not only that, the number 2, 3, 4, 5 EPCs in the world after us are Chinese. And the second largest guy is half our size. So you can actually see the dominant position that the solar team has created in the global market. I think a big round of applause for Bikesh and his team. Yeah? It's even more credible because if you look at, we reached $1 billion turnover last year. And if you look at the dominance of about 70 to 80% of the global production of modules is in China, 50% of the consumption of modules is in China. And after that, we have become double the size of any Chinese EP. So it's an incredible positioning. In fact, we don't know of, actually we've asked the question, but we don't know of any other Indian company which is the largest in the world in what they do. And that's what this team has achieved. For us, what's even more exciting is the future opportunity, because this really, we believe, is just a stepping stone. if you see the solar market globally, actually if you see the renewable market globally, what's happening is that our client in Abu Dhabi, the job we've spoken about a lot, where we finished a 5,000 crore job in 24 months, we made good money, the client's making decent money, and he's selling electricity to the Abu Dhabi government at 1 rupee 75 paise for the next 25 years. The prices have even come down below that. Now at this price, it makes no sense to have fossil fuels. So you're finding that globally coal, gas, etc. is just moving out of the equation, and renewables will take over. This change has happened only 3 years back. So very often when you look back and you look at an entire revolution taking place in a particular industry, that's actually happening now for electricity. And we are really at the forefront of that. And till now, we've been 2 partners who've actually enjoyed that success. I think with the IPO going through successfully, we've got 30-odd thousand partners. And we are hoping that in the future, after the listing, we have a whole set of investors who join us in this long-term growth story. I need to thank a lot of people for this, because when we started the IPO, I think the markets were fantastic. When the current government came in, we thought we had a clear run to go for the IPO. And we always knew it was challenging because a solar business and an EPC business is not viewed very kindly. We are the only solar EPC in the world to get listed. So to come in as a solar EPC, educate everyone what the business is, and then get listed was going to be a massive challenge. And in that, suddenly the environment, I think the global environment, local environment actually collapsed around us. And the team of bankers, lawyers, chartered accountants, etc., who stood by us and took us through this phase. So a huge round of applause for them, because without them, it wouldn't have been possible at all. Also, lastly, before I finish, I would like to name a few people. So it's Bikesh, Bahadur, Tarun, Jagannath, Prasanna, and their teams, because there's a whole host of people working below them. So I would like to thank all of them for the tireless effort all of you all put in over the last 6 months. And more so, thank all our families, including mine, I think, for the strength that they gave us to pull this through. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. And now we have Mr. Bikesh Ogra, non-executive and global CEO, who is going to speak to all of us. Mr. Bikesh Ogra.
Okay. So I've been given the arduous task of keeping it very short, and I'll try and keep it as crisp as possible it can be. So, dignitaries, my colleagues, guests on the dais, and all of my team members. It's indeed, I would say, as Kharshad mentioned, I like to reiterate, it's indeed a very proud and honorable moment for all of us as a team within Sterling Wilson, as a group within Shapoorji Pallonji, to be, having to experience this historical day. This isn't an event or an occasion which happens once in a lifetime. And I always tell people, for me, this event happens once in 2 lifetimes. So we had put in a lot of efforts. I think there's a huge amount of collaboration that has happened, that has gone in terms of making this event successful. I think I'd like to thank and be extremely thankful to our bankers, to the investors, to shareholders, as well as to the Bombay Stock Exchange and the NSE. I would also like to be giving a special mention about the growth of the business, which wouldn't have been possible had it not been the teams that we built over the years, over the last 7 years, and which has been one of the most commendable teams that you can globally see in the business. And I would surely request you to give a round of applause to the teams, some of whom are present there. To really wrap it off, because of the paucity of time, I would say that yes, the journey has ended in terms of getting to a successful IPO, and now there's a new beginning to the journey. We are now accountable, responsible to create value for the shareholders, create value for the investors, create value for the world at large. And I think my team is going to be equally responsible and committed as they have been all this while to ensure that we have the continuity of what we have created over the last 7 years to continue it for the next 25, 30 years. Thank you very much, and I'll hand it over to the other gentleman. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. You really kept that short. And now from BSc, I invite Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan, who will address all of us.
Shri Khurshid Yezdi Daruwala, Shri Bikesh Ogra, Shri Bahadur Dastur, Shri Sumit Jalan, Shri Nem Kumar, Shri Salil Pitle, Shri Chirag Negandhi, Shri Ajay Sharaf, Shri Amrish Balega, Shri Patik Indwar, and everyone associated with this issue. A good morning to everyone. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome all of you to the BSc as we celebrate the listing of BSc's newest member, Sterling and Wilson Solar. Listing of a company is a key step for moving forward, opening new avenues and opportunities for growth. An IPO gives prominence to the endeavor of the company, and we at BSc always look forward to encouraging the accomplishment of these best practices. As seen in the past, growth and impetus is given to each and every company that gets listed on BSc. I'm happy to stand before you, representing the proud history of BSc of 144 years. BSc is over 4,100 listed companies on its platform, making it the largest of any exchange in the world. The story of BSc is the story of Indian economy. The benchmark index S&P BSc Sensex was first compiled on January 2, 1986, comprising the top 30 stocks in the country. BSc has played a prominent role in developing the Indian capital markets. It's Asia's first and India's first universal exchange to offer trading in all asset classes and the fastest stock exchange in the world with a speed of 6 microseconds. It provides an efficient and transparent market for trading in a bouquet of products like equities, debt, currencies, commodities, interest rate derivatives, mutual funds, stock lending, borrowing, offer to buy, offer to sell, many other things. BSc puts forward a strong, robust platform for investors to trade in a highly secure and reliable environment that offers enhanced liquidity, diversity of participants, innovative technology, and trustworthy clearing services. The initial public offering of 3.65 crore equity shares of rupees 1 each was offered with a price band of 775 to 780, and the final issue price was 780 per share. The total issue size, therefore, was rupees 2,849 crores, and the post-issue capital was 16 crore 3 lakh. So it's a very large issue, and it has been oversubscribed 0.91 times. The retail category was oversubscribed by 0.28 times. But overall, there were 37,000 retail applications, which tells you that retail investors have come in hordes for this particular issue. I congratulate Sterling and Wilson Solar and everyone involved with this issue for receiving such a great response. I wish to take this opportunity to congratulate Sterling, Wilson and Solar, a successful listing, and wish them the best as they forge forward in their business. Thank you very much for coming today morning.
Thank you, sir. And now we'll have a quick exchange and presentation of mementos. We'll finish one part of it now, and the next part of it, we'll do it post the gong. And I'd like to invite Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan to present the first memento to Mr. Khurshid Daruwala, Chairman, Sterling and Wilson Solar Limited. From Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan to Mr. Bikesh Ogra. We next have Mr. Salil Pitle, Joint Managing Director and Co-CEO, Access Capital Limited. Mr. Pratik Indwar, Group Head, Investment Banking. Mr. Ajay Sraf, Executive Director, ICICI Securities Limited. Mr. H. Nemkumar, Head Institutional Equities, IFL Holdings Limited. Mr. Sumit Jalan, Head of Investment Banking, Credit Suisse Securities, India Private Limited. And Mr. Amrish Baliga, Managing Director, Deutsche Equities, India Private Limited. And we'll have a quick exchange from Mr. Karshid Darawala to Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan. And immediately after this, we will go into, I think we'll proceed towards the gong. We've got about 50 seconds to go, and then we'll continue with the exchange of the mementos. And like I mentioned earlier, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are seated in the front, kindly remain seated. You can definitely capture these moments from your mobile phones, but try not to put your hands up too high so that the cameras behind will be able to capture these moments. And I need your assistance for the countdown. Yes, from 10 we'll start. Let's begin. 10, everybody. 9, 8, can't hear you. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A nice big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Sterling and Wilson Solar Limited being listed. A quick photo op with everybody near the gong, and then we will continue with the exchange of the mementos. So we'll continue with the presentation of the mementos, and then we have the vote of thanks, and then of course there are the TV recordings post this. So we have the first one given by Mr. Karshid Darawala to Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen. From Mr. Karshid to Mr. Salil Pitle. Mr. Pratik Indwar. Mr. Ajay Sraf. Mr. H. Nemkumar. Mr. Sumit Jalan. Mr. Amrish Baliga. We then have the registrar of the issue, LinkedIn Time. The agency is Concept Communication. Legal Advisors, AZB. Legal Advisors, Ketan and Company. Auditors, BSR and Company. Printers, Crystal Forms. Printers is Crystal Forms. They aren't here? Okay, fine. We now have the vote of thanks that will be given by Mr. Ajay Sraf, Executive Director, ICICI Securities. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Ajay Sraf.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of BRLMs, we thank you all for being with us today to witness the listing of securities of Sterling & Wilson Solar Limited. We at ICICI Securities are proud to be associated with Sterling Wilson in helping them to bring to the public markets through an IPO, which is the first IPO from the Sapurji Palonji Group in 150 years of their history, and by Daruwala family, who've been in existence for 90 years. We'd like to congratulate once again Kharsad and his team, Vikas, Bahadur, Tarun, and others, for creating the world #1 EPC enterprise with a strong implementation record. Given the company's leadership position, experienced management and design teams, global presence, and favorable industry drivers, we are confident that the company will continue to innovate and sustain its leadership position. On this momentous occasion of listing, we would like to convey our best wishes to the company for all the success in the coming years in the endeavor towards growth and creating value for the shareholders. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And with that, we come to the end of our program for this morning. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here with us this morning. This is Bosco Rodriguez signing off. Till we meet again, take care and have a lovely day ahead. Do join us for refreshments, and a little later on, there'll be the TV recordings.